coach for Howard please bring their lineup to the pros manual?
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NJCAA 2017 Women's Softball Championships. At this time, we'd like to ask everyone to rise to the national anthem. Please face the flag above the concession stand. Singing the national anthem this evening is City of St. George Mayor John Pike.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to St. George, Utah, where the start of day one has been a bit of a cluster. Had some weather that's been moving through the area most of the afternoon. Gave the 1 hour rain delay, and then trying to battle some of the connection issues. Hopefully, everybody can get it going. May have to downgrade the video quality, and I'll try to call it more on the audio side. A little bit more. Have a little bit awkward of a setup. The iPad's a little bit over to the right side. Had to make shift a little bit of a setup. But starting off game one for your Apaches, the 8 seed Tyler will be taking on the 9 seed Howard, Region 5 foe. TJC and Howard have faced 4 times this year. TJC 3-1 record, but all that can be thrown out as it's double elimination tournament here in St. George, Utah. Starting lineup for Howard, we'll go down the lineup. In right field is Sumalo. Batting second, left field is Darling. Batting third, designated player Lopez. Fourth and catching is Loyola. Batting fifth, Mercado at third base. Batting sixth, Michener in center field. Batting seventh is Lee at shortstop. Batting 8th, Neff, and at second base. And in the 9-hole is Henry playing first base. In the circle for Howard is Shea. And, of course, starting in the circle for Tyler, number 24, Kelly Mardones, comes in to the national tournament with a 2.06 ERA, a 32-4 record, 41 appearances, 18 complete games, 4 shutouts, 1 save, 204 and a third innings pitched. As Sumalo gets up to the plate, and pitch number 1 has started off the tournament. And that was ball 1 on the outside. The wind is literally, if you can see if it's not degraded enough, the light pole and the scoreboard in right field, and then coming all the way across towards the TJC dugout. So the wind is blowing in from right field. It's 220 in the center, 195 down the corners. Behind the plate for Tyler is Shelby Court. As strike 1 brings in a 1-1 count. Across the infield for Tyler is Moore, Chatham, Pete, and Goswick. In the outfield, Paysinger, Weber, and Hotchkiss. Pitch number 3 gets her to fan at that one. So 1-2 count now for Sumalo at the plate. The little change up and away, no go, so ball 2. Two pitch. Can't get her swing at that one. Counts now full. Sumalo on the year has a .449 average in 36 games, 118 at bats, 74 hits, 10 doubles, and 10 home runs. And pops that one's deep down the line, but able to come in is Hotchkiss. So out number 1 by way of F9. So that first batter jitters out of the way for Tyler, brings up to the plate number 3, Megan Darling, .414 average on the year in 55 games, 181 at bats, 75 hits, 61 runs scored, 11 doubles. And that's ball 1. No triples, no home runs, but 30 RBIs on the year. 1-0 pitch, 1 out, coming for Mardones. And ball 2, low and outside. Two-0 pitch. Strike 1 on the outside. Been a busy week for the Apaches up here in St. George. Got up here in time for a practice and a Little League clinic. And that's ground over to short. Hotchkiss picks it up, throws it in time over to Goswick. So Darling goes down by way of 6-3. But the Apaches got in town a couple hours before the Little League clinic, was able to get a practice in, shake the rust off the legs from the bus ride. But Little League Clinic, Barbecue, Home Run Derby, which Haley Weber participated in. As ball 1 is upstairs. At the plate is Lopez, the designated player for Howard. Lopez, a team-leading .472 average. And looks at the changeup across the middle for strike 1. Lopez, 161 at bats, 76 hits, 22 doubles, 19 home runs. She's the team leader in home runs, 68 RBIs. And that one's strike 2 across the plate. And then yesterday for the Apaches, practice, banquet. They did some hiking around here in St. George. As that was ball 2, up and away. So 2-2 count, 2 outs here in the top half of the first for Howard. And that's popped out of play down the right field line. So we'll reset the 2-2 count. Today the Apaches went out to Hurricane, Utah, just a little bit northeast of town here, and host family, teachers there at the elementary are able to go spend some time with a bunch of the kids there. As the changeup floats across, Goswick able to chase it down before the fence and gets out number 3. So Lopez goes down by way of F3. So 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no left on base for Howard. As you hear a little bit of the rattle on the fence from getting the balls back in play. But the Apaches were able to go out to Hurricane with the host family, the parents of the host family, as teachers out there in Hurricane. So got to spend about an hour or so out there with the first graders out in Hurricane, Utah. Then came back in town, rested a little bit, got a little bit of a later lunch with this supposed to be a 4:30 local time. Ended up being a 5:30 local time game. So let's set the lineup for Tyler here in the bottom half of the first, as TGC's the home team with the higher seed. You have Paysinger, Snow, Weber, Goswick, Court, Moore, Pete, Chatham, and Hotchkiss. The same lineup through the regional tournament. In the circle is Shea for Howard. Shea, a 4.04 ERA, 12-1 record, 22 appearances, 4 complete games, 2 shutouts, 79 2/3 innings pitched. Has given up 90 hits, 64 runs, 46 of those earned, 42 walks, 52 strikeouts, and 8 home runs. Opponent batting average is a .272 against Shea. First up for Tyler, bottom half of the first, scoreless here in St. George, Utah, is Brianna Paysinger, 448 average on the year. Played in all 61 games for Tyler so far. Or played in 61 out of the 67 games. As it's ball 1 on the outside. 201 at bats, 90 hits, 24 doubles, 1 triple. As ball 2 up. 8 home runs and 47 RBIs for Paysinger. .20 pitch. Strike 1 down the middle. .21 pitch from Shea. Ball 3 outside. And strike 2 down the middle. So a full count now for Paysinger at the plate. And couldn't frame that one enough, too far up and away. So Paysinger draws the first walk of the game. So TJC gets the leadoff runner by way of a walk, brings up Rebecca Snow, the designated player for Tyler. Snow, a .485 average, 59 games, 132 at-bats, 47 hits, or 64 hits, 47 runs scored, 19 doubles, 2 triples, and 6 home runs, and 62 RBIs. And she's going to bunt that one up and pop it up for out number 1 for Tyler. And that was a little, she couldn't get that bunt down, so a little F5. Brings up Haley Weber, center field for Tyler. Weber, .403 average, 191 at bats, 77 hits, 22 doubles, 3 triples, 12 home runs, 64 RBIs. Looks at ball 1, low and away. .10 pitch on the way. Paysinger on first. As ball 2 on the outside. Behind the plate for Howard is Loyola. Across the infield left to right is Mercado, Lee, Neff, and Henry. Outfield left to right is Darling, Michener, and Sumalo. And that's popped out. Little looper going to fall in for a single. As just couldn't quite get to it was Darling. Fell in between Darling and Michener. So Paysinger will advance to second. Weber will get on by way of 1B7. Brings up to the plate Mackenzie Goswick. Goswick a .415 average. 193 at bats. 80 hits, 25 doubles, 1 triple, 9 home runs, and 65 RBIs. Looks at strike 1. So here in the bottom half of the first, scoreless. TJC has 1 out. Paysinger on second, Weber on first. Goswick at the plate. And ball 1 on the outside. Two 2-1 pitch. And that one may not count as the ball came over from the field just behind us, which is Butler and Sneed State. So it's actually a 1-1 count. It should be a 2-1 count because there were 2 balls on the outside. But the winner of this one faces the winner of the one right behind us, which is Butler and Sneed, as well as the loser will fall into the elimination bracket and play the loser of Sneed and Butler. So 2-1 count, and swings at that one for strike 2. And gets her to swing at that one on the outside. So Goswick goes down by way of strikeout. So 2 out, 2 on for Tyler. Paysinger at second, Weber at first. Brings up the 5-hole Shelby Court. Court a .323 average. Played in all 67 games so far for Tyler. 195 at bats, 63 hits, 19 doubles, 10 home runs, and 56 RBI. And that's strike 1 across. 0-1 count. Looks at strike 2 across and a throw down to second. Paysinger's there in time. Oh-2 count, and that's pop. It's going to hang up in the air, hang up in that wind, as that's right where the wind is blowing in from. So Shelby Court will be out by way of F9. So TJC will get no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base. So after 1 complete inning of play here in St. George at the 2017 NJCA National Tournament, TJC 0, Howard 0. We'll be back in a minute.
Next coming up for Howard College is number 13, Evelyn Loida.
To start off the top half of the second for Howard, 4, 5, 6, Loyola, Mercado, and Michener. Loyola 4.26 average, 141 at bats, 60 hits, 11 doubles, no triples, 10 home runs, and 55 RBIs. As Mardones gets strike 1 cross. Back in February 17th, 18th, these two teams faced off. And it was Tyler 7-5 and Tyler 10-7. Then again on March 4th, a doubleheader. Howard took game 1, 9-8. And TJC came back game 2, 12-7. So these two teams 6 hours apart from each other, facing off game 1 up here in Utah. Mardones next to sell his ball. So 2-1 count now for Mardones in the circle. Gets strike 2 across. The 2-2 count for Loyola at the plate. As that one's hit deep center. But once again, that wind, if we're on a different field right behind us, that ball is potentially out. But with the way that wind's blowing in from right and right center, it's going to hang up. So Weber was able to get to that one pretty easily. Got on her horse a little bit and had to slow up as that ball caught the air. So Loyola down by way of F8. Brings up Mercado. Strike 1 across. Mercado, 433 average, 171 at bats, 74 hits, 10 doubles, no triples, 10 home runs, and 44 RBIs. A 1 pitch, that's popped over to right. Going to stay in play and able to come in and get that one is Hotchkiss. So F9. Brings up the 6-hole Michener. Or Michener for Howard. Michener, 408 average. Looks at ball 1 low and away. 184 at bats, 75 hits, 20 doubles, 2 triples, 1 home run, and 43 RBIs. 1-0 pitch from Mardones. And that one missed on the inside. And that's strike one. Little delay there, but so 2-1 count, 2 outs for Michener at the plate. And strike two called. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top half of the second. Scores are zeros. Michener at the plate as the 2-2 pitch comes. And catchers are looking at the changeup. As Howard's looking at that same one that we called late, or we thought he called late. They heard the same thing. So we're going into the bottom half of the second after Howard gets no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. And TJC will bring up 6, 7, 8 more Pete Chatham to the plate in the bottom half of the second. We'd love to hear from you. There's a phone number in the description part of the broadcast. If you're already full screen, you may have to make it minimize the video or shrink it back down to normal. And then in the bottom part there is a phone number, but just in case, it's 951-324-4199. Again, it's 951-324-4199. Would love to hear from you. Already got a text in from Mackenzie Pete's grandparents watching in from Keller, Texas. I know he sent the link over to the fans over at Howard as fellow Texas opponents. But I know there's a chat portion there on the YouTube function. But the way the setup is, I'll have to get up and check those in between innings. So I won't be able to respond to those as quick as I can with the texting app that we have. So up to the plate for Tyler in the bottom half of the second is Casey Moore. Moore looks at strike one across. Moore a .390 average. Played in all 67 games for Tyler. 200 at bats, 78 hits, 15 doubles, no triples, 1 home run, 42 RBIs. Looks at ball 2 up and away. One 1 pitch, and that slapped is going to be foul, and nobody can make a play on it. So it'll just be a long strike 2. Tyler making back-to-back national tournament appearances in just its 3rd year of the program, already establishing the history. As that's ball 2 upstairs. But with the 3 sophomores and all the freshmen, actually nobody from last year's team is still with us here. They all transferred and went through, and that's just going to be an easy line drive over to second. Neff was able to snag that one. So Moore's out by way of L4. Brings up Mackenzie Pete. But the previous coach, Coach Nicole Dixon, took the head coach job down at Stephen F. Austin and working that program there. And TJC was able to get Maria Wynn Ratliff, or as announced at the banquet last night, Marla Winter Ratliff. If you can imagine those fun little laughs there at the banquet. First pitch strike. And Pete's grounded that one. She might get that one through. A play's at short and going to be a bang bang, and got her. It was a great throw by Lee and stretch out by Henry at first. So Pete's out by way of 6'3". Brings up Mackenzie Chatham. Chatham a 307 average. Played in all 67 games for Tyler again. 176 at bats, 54 hits, 8 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, and 38 RBIs. And that's ball 1 low.
Number 11, Allison Jorgensen.
2 outs, no one on for Tyler, and swings through that one for strike 1. Still scoreless here in the bottom half of the second. Tyler, the home team. 1-1 pitch for Chatham, and that's hit right over to Neff at second. Easy play over to Henry. So 1-2-3 up and down for Tyler in the bottom half of the second. That'll bring up, let's see, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. So for Howard in the top half of the third, we'll bring up 7, 8, 9, Lee, Neff, and Henry. After 2 complete here in St. George, we are scoreless. Tyler versus Howard. We'll be back in a minute.
Score is Butler 2, State 0. On 0 hits, 1 error, and 1 left on base. Leading off the top of the second inning for Peach State, the pitcher, Riley White.
For Howard in the top half of the third, up to the plate, shortstop Lee. Lee a 3.64 average. As ball 1 on the outside. One-0 pitch. Fouled that one off. Change up upstairs. Two-one count now for Lee at the plate. Wanted to turn on it, but no go. Low and inside. So now a 3-1 count for Lee. And it's strike 2 across, so brings the count to full. Still scoreless here in the top half of the third. Three-two pitch. And gonna walk the first base runner for Howard. That brings up a second baseman, Neff. Neff a 3.08 average. So no outs here in the top half of the third. Howard has 1 on first. And that's bunted up. Can't get to it, just off the edge of the glove there is Shelby Court trying to make that play. So they'll come back for
Great effort, great effort.
Accepted foul. The people are going under 8 on. No out.
0-1 pitch from Mardones. And ball on the outside. Leadoff walk by Lee has her sitting on first. Neff at the plate. And that's going to be deep but out of play left. One-two count. No outs. Runner on first. Gets her looking at the changeup, but must have missed outside. So 2-2 pitch. No outs, one on for Howard. And that one's over towards left, going to be foul by a couple feet. Reset the 2-2 count. That one's fouled out of play on the right side. Still scoreless top half of the third. No outs. One on first. 2-2 pitch underway. And got her to hold up on the changeup. Check swung it, and Pete was able to grab that one. Little F4. So now one down, one out. Or one down, one on for Howard. Brings up the 9-hole hitter, Henry. And actually, they're going to already cause me to do a scratch in my scorecard, as they're going to do a pinch hit. Number 9, Alexis Velasquez. As that one's fouled back. So one out, one on for Velasquez at the plate. 0-1 count. Looks at strike 2 across. And got her chasing on the changeup again. Chatham fields it, gets it over to first. Great little glove and throw. Lee will advance to second, but Velasquez is out by way of 6-3. So 2 outs. Lee sits on second for Howard. Brings back to the top of the lineup Sumalo, who flew out to right last time up. Looks at strike 1 across the plate. Lee's on second. 2 outs. Sumalo at the plate. 0-1 pitch underway. It's going to be ball on the outside. 1-1 pitch. Can't get her to chase that one. It'll be 2-1 to Samalo. As that one has a chance, and it's out of here by the scoreboard. So Howard will strike first. Lee will score. Samalo will get a two-run homer. So here in the top half of the third, with 2 outs, Howard now up 2-0. Brings up the 2-hole hitter, Darling. She grounded out to Chatham. That's short back in the first inning. And strike one called there. Two outs. Pitch to Darling is 0-1. And gets her to chase that one. Gonna glove it and toss it over his Pete to Goswick. So Darling will go down by way of 4-3. TJC gets out of the top half of the third, but not before giving up 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors, and no one left on base for Howard. So after 2.5, TJC will come to the plate in the bottom half of the third. 9-1-2, Hotchkiss, Paysinger, and Snow.
After 2.5.
We can go through
For 2 runs on 1 hit, and no errors. Score is 2-0 Howard.
some of the folks that have texted in for us. Sadie Jane back in Tyler. Thank you for watching in. Some Hawks fans, the Howard Hawks fans from Midland. Dr. Tim Drain, the TJC athletic director, texting in. And Utah looks as pretty as what you remember. It's beautiful up with all the cliffs and everything around, as long as that rain stays away or at least pushes through the different canyons around us. Mackenzie Goswick's family listening in or watching in from Joplin, Missouri. Coach Ivy listening in from or watching in from Tyler. Brings up 9-hole Shelby Hotchkiss, fouls that one back out of play. Hotchkiss at .369 average on the year. Has played in all 67 games, 187 at bats, 69 hits, 20 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, and 47 RBIs. 0-1 count now for Hotchkiss, and able to stay off that one low. And that one's lifted up in the air, but able to get underneath it is Mitchener. So Hotchkiss goes down by way of F8. Brings back the top of the lineup for Tyler. Brianna Paysinger got on by way of a walk and got stranded at second. Tyler trails 2-0 here in the bottom half of the third. A 1-0 pitch. And that's going to be a over-the-shoulder grab in center. So Paysinger will go down by way of F8. And that was a great play in center just to keep that one. If not, it was going off the fence. So that brings up Rebecca Snow. Flew out to third. A little looper to third, trying to bunt back in the first. So with 2 outs, nobody on here for Tyler in the bottom half of the third. Trailing to Howard 2-0. Looks at ball 1, low and away.
Butler, no runs and 1 hit, no errors. At the end of 2, Butler 2, East 0.
Looks at ball 2. Two-0 pitch, 2 outs. Here in the bottom half of the third. Looks at ball 3, low and away. Air's a little bit different up here in Utah. A lot thinner, a whole lot less humidity than back in Texas. So if you do get it, if you do lift it up in the right location, it will travel. As another ball came in from one of the other fields. So 3-0 count. As looks at strike 1 across the middle. 3-1 pitch to Rebecca Snow. Can't frame that one inside enough, so we'll be on by way of a walk. Brings up Haley Weber. Had a single out to left her first time up in the first. And that's ball 1 low. One 1-0 pitch. Ball 2 on the outside. Two outs and 1 on for Tyler here in the bottom half of the third. Trailing Howard 2-0 in this opening game of the 2017 National Tournament. Looks at ball 3. Looks at the ceremonial 3-0 strike 1. And that's going to be back-to-back walks. And Snow will get over to second. Weber will get to first. So with 2 outs, TJC trying to put up a little rally as Howard will have a little powwow in the middle of the field. We'll take the time to keep going through all the text in. And Casey Moore's family watching in from Tomball, Texas.
Now hitting for Sneed, number 25, Callie Kay.
Looks like Casey Moore's grandparents up in Tomball sending a pitcher. That's always good, trying to watch in. as that one's fouled back out of play for Goswick. Struck out swinging the first time up in the first. TJC with 2 on. Looks at ball 1. So the 1-1 pitch, 2 out, 2 on for Tyler here in the bottom half of the third, trailing as that one's fouled off the fence right in front of us. You can hear it. So 1-2 count for Goswick at the plate. 2 outs, 2 on for Tyler in the bottom half of the third. Looks at ball 2 low. Two pitch, 2 outs. That was slapped to stay alive. Reset a 2-2 count. 2 outs, 2 on here in the bottom half of the third. Looks at that one upstairs. So brings the count to full. Runners will be off with the pitch. As you have Snow on second, Weber on first. Goswick at the plate with a full count, 2 outs. And that's ball 4. So walk the bases loaded. Is Shea in the circle. So that brings up Shelby Court. Flew out by way of F9 back in the first in the inning. So bases are loaded, 2 outs. All base runners on with the 2 outs. As that's ball 1. One-0 pitch. Bases are loaded for Tyler. Looks at strike 1. Looks at ball 2 up and away. After the first 2 batters, Hotchkiss and Paysinger flew out to center. Patience at the plate has loaded the bases. Here with 2 outs in the bottom half of the third. Howard leading Tyler 2-0. And that one's fouled back out of play behind us. Back into the stands of field number 1. As that one's gonna pop up and able to get to it and back up with Neff. So Shelby Court will go down by way of F4. So Tyler will get no runs on no hits, no errors, and 3 left on base in the bottom half of the third. So after 3 complete, TJC trails Howard here in the opening round of the 2017 NJCAA National Tournament. Up to bat for Howard in the top half of the 4th, 3-4-5, Lopez, Loyola, and Mercado. We'll be back in a minute.
Leading off for Howard is number 17, Kaylin Lopez. And 1 run, no hit, and no errors. 1 hit on base. After 2.5. Butler 2, East State 1.
Leading off the top half of the 4th for Howard is Lopez. Flew out to first, or first time up in the 1st inning. Can't get that one called, so ball 1. And that's out of play down the left field line. As not sure, depends on the quality rate of the stream there. You might be able to see it in the upper right, maybe not with that ridge, but some pretty nice looking clouds right over there, a little gray, moving from left to right. That's strike 2 across. And can't get her to chase at the changeup. So 2-2 count, no outs for Lopez here in the top half of the 4th. Howard leading Tyler 2-0. That one's grounded foul towards third. I'd like to welcome the Apache fans watching in from Nebraska. Yeah, that one's popped up towards center, hanging up in the air. Back at the fence is Weber, and it's just going to go over. Once again, the air here is a little bit thinner, or a lot thinner without the humidity. And you hit it just right. The wind's going to push. So Lopez will get a home run and extend the lead for Howard to 3-0. So with no outs here in the top half of the 4th, brings up Loyola. After the leadoff, Lopez sent one just over the center field wall. 0-1 pitch. And going to be ball up and away. One pitch. Can't get the changeup down. So it'll be 2-1. And that one's also deep center and gone. So back-to-back home runs for Howard has extended the lead over Tyler 4-0. As Coach Wynn will call time and go out and talk with the infielders. That's back-to-back home runs, 3 home runs for Howard within the 3rd and 4th inning. But it's not out of reach for Tyler to be right back in that same scenario. In the game going on behind us, Butler in the 4th inning is only up 2-1 over Snead State. That's ball 1 low and away. At the plate is Mercado. Flew out to right fielder first time up. And that one's a high fly ball. In comes Weber. Calls off Mackenzie Pete. So Mercado goes down by way of F8. So 1 out here in the top half of the 4th. Winner of this one will take on the winner of the one behind us with Butler and Snead State. Though that game will be at 2:30 tomorrow local, so 3:30 for all the Central Time folks. And then in the elimination bracket round, and that one's deep to the right and right at the fence. Gonna go off the fence. Can't grab it is Hotchkiss, as that was a line drive. So she's gonna get a 2B. Mitchner's gonna get a 2B9. As that one traveling very quickly. Out towards right. But the loser out of this one will play the loser out of the Butler Snead State tomorrow at 5 local here, 6 o'clock back home. As looks at strike 1. So here in the top half of the 4th, Howard has extended their lead to 4-0 with back-to-back home runs to start off the top half. There's 1 out, 1 on, and check swing for strike 2. So 1 on, Mitchner on second. Lee at the plate. Walked with a run scored back in the 3rd and last inning. And can't quite get her to chase the change up on the outside. So 1-2 count for Lee at the plate. 1 out, 1 on here in the top half of the 4th for Howard. And that one's grounded up the middle. Hotchkiss, I'll check that. Chatham can't quite glove and keep it. So Mitchner will get over to 3rd. Lee will get to 1st. As that'll be tough to score. See what the book tries to give her, but runners on the corners, 1 out for Howard in the top half of the 1st. Looks at strike 1, and on the inside is Neff. Flew out to Mackenzie Pete the first time up. Strike 2 across. Oh, 2 count. As that one mishandled by Mardones on the pitch. And Lee will get to second with a stolen base. So 1-2 count, 1 out. Runners at second and third for Howard. Neff at the plate. That's ball 2 up and away. Two-two pitch. And that's popped down the right field line. Going to be foul. One bounce at the fence. So reset a 2-2 count. As the wind starts to pick up here in St. George. I know everybody back home is looking at the 80-degree weather. Here it was in the mid-50s around start time of the game. It's actually 59, supposedly. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 17. Or at 2, gusting to 17. I think we're getting a couple of those gusts now. Full count, fouled back. To stay alive is Neff. Three-two pitch, and going to be fouled out of play down the right field line. Full count, 1 out, 2 on for Howard. And going to miss on the inside, so bases will be loaded with the walk. So in the 9-hole, we'll bring up number 16. I was not sure. I'm going to bring in 16, Mariah Young. Here in the 4th, and TJC is going to make a pitching change at the same time. So Mardones will come out with 3 1/3 innings pitched. In comes number 18, Amber Lair. Here in the top half of the 4th, TJC down 4-0 in this opening round game, this double elimination tournament. Here in St. George, you can hear that wind pick up. And it's been a while since I've had 50-degree or 59-degree temps with 17 mile-per-hour winds, and with that wind shift and picking up, it is now blowing directly out to right field. So if you get it lifted at all, it will sail out towards the scoreboard. And it depending on how the connection is, you may see the trees in the background start to whip around. As strike 1 across the plate for Young. Young on the year, .424 average. As you feel a couple little sprinkles as well. And we have a time because with the wind gusting, you may have seen it, the whole left field fence just blew over, as it's a temporary fence. So several are headed out to the outfield, as I'm also trying to secure everything, make sure nothing falls. As they got the fence back up, but with this wind, it may not be the last of it. As we're trying to also make sure and keep everything, because it almost looks like there's a little bit of moisture about to blow in. So if we lose connection because of the moisture trying to cover equipment and everything, we will come back to it. Just be patient. You may have to refresh the screen once it loses the connection. You may have to refresh the screen a couple times just to make sure, but we'll at least try to cover everything, and the screen actually may go dark, and I'll try to keep calling as needed if it starts to get a little too wet. As they're still trying to work on that screen and the fence out in left field. Trying to cover equipment here, and with the water, and we're going to try to stay with us, fans. As you may see a little bit, but with that wind, it's blowing in a little bit of the weather. As we'll stay with us shaky on the video, as I'm trying to just move everything to keep it dry. So the screen will go dark. I'll try to cover everything up, keep the headset on. So hopefully everything will stay dry enough here. And try to get underneath a tent to the side. If only I could take a picture of this, as both teams have got into their dugouts. And it looks like across the board, as there's a little bit of a rain cloud coming over us. And we're currently in a weather delay. So yes, the screen is supposed to be dark. The ApacheAthletics.com logo up in the top, and a little bit of a weather delay, trying to wait till this one cell kind of pushes past and the wind slows down, as the little flag above the little crow's nest that is above us, or that is kind of behind us, that is actually at full tilt, and that may fly. And not sure what they're saying on the PA, as the wind is blowing so hard you can't tell. As I think they're just trying to wait this one little portion out. As if you'll look up the weather in St. George, there's actually a big big cell just right over us. It's just nothing but wind and rain. But not sure what else. You can look behind us and there's still sunshine. But one beautiful thing about being up near the plateaus and the mountains, you can see that rain moving in. And it's just coming from behind us and pushing out or pushing directly at us. And we're starting to catch some static interference. We're going to go ahead and pause the broadcast. Once again, just please be with us, and I'll try to update everybody as to when we'll get back on. So hopefully it won't be too much longer, but we're going to go into a weather delay. And I'll try to update the little message board on the side. As we're still trying to figure out what's going on from the tournament staff. Haven't heard anything yet. And we're going to put a weather delay in the fourth on that little note side. We're actually going to pause the broadcast from here, and then I'll get it active once again once we get back into business. So here in the top half of the fourth, 1 out for Howard. And batting in the top half of the fourth, leading TJC 4-0. We'll be back as soon as we can safely get connected. We'll be back in a little bit. right, fans, we're hopefully fully back online here in St. George, Utah, where the reason our game is still delayed is with the fence falling in left. They're still trying to, they had to take the windscreen off because it kept blowing over. And so they're still trying to fix that. We may play without a windscreen in left, and they're also trying to fix the foul pole bar, as when the temporary fence fell, the foul pole also shifted in a couple feet. So our game here is still waiting to get back underway. I know there's still some connection issues. Hopefully, at least the sound is coming through. You may have to check the quality of stuff on the bottom right gear of the video and click on a lower quality in order to maybe stay connected, or flip it direct audio and then we can check it as needed. But I know it keeps going, drops down to single digit kilobytes being sent. As you can still tell, the wind is nasty whipping through all the way up to a couple hundred kb. So it's a lower in quality. Apologize about that. Hopefully we can get that situated out somewhat soon. But we're still in the top half of the fourth. When we resume play, at the plate will be Young in the 9 hole. There's 2 on. I believe it's a 0-1 count. They took the scoreboard off, and I didn't write it down before things kind of got soaked and wind blown everywhere. But I know Young's at the plate, at least with a 1-1 count, I believe. The bases are loaded for Howard in the top half of the fourth. TJC's trailing 4-0 after back-to-back solo shots to lead off the 4th inning for Howard. Howard put up 2 in the 3rd with a 2-run homer by Samalo. Looking back through the notes to reset up, the Lopez and Loyola went back-to-back with the home runs here in the top half of the 4th. As hopefully we'll get started with this one soon, as the lights are now turned on. This was supposed to be just a afternoon game, 4:30 local, 4:30 p.m. local. They got pushed to 5:30 local, and now most of the other games started back about almost an hour ago now, or 30, 45 minutes ago. So it looks like we're about to get underway. Appreciate everybody's patience. As you can tell, the skies are cleared up a little bit, but then there's clouds over center. But there's a ridge directly behind us where everything is blowing in from. So we can look back there, and there's still another dark cloud spot heading back this way. So hopefully it blows over with nothing else, but the flags are blowing from third base out to right field of the scoreboard. In the circle for Tyler is Amber Lair. Came in to relieve Kelly Mardones earlier this 4th inning. So they have 1-0 count with 1 out. There's 2 runners on the bags, but I thought I checked that there. She's heading over to first now. So bases are loaded as we are back underway after a nice delay. And if the video starts to shake a little bit, that's because the wind still picks up and picking up pretty good. And if you go to @Apache Athletics on Twitter, you guys can see the little makeshift setup we have for the broadcast side. As the wind gust, it's not much more of a gust now. It's pretty much a steady 17 to 20 miles an hour coming from essentially third base out to the scoreboard in right field. So if you get any loft on it. So 1-0 pitch from Lair. Ball too high. Two-0 pitch, and that's lofted into left field, able to get underneath it as Pace Singer, going to make a throw in, just going to miss the cutoff Chatham. So that's going to be a run scored. Mitchner will score from third. Lee will stay at second. Neff will stay at first, and Young will get a sacrifice fly to left. That brings the top of the lineup, Samalo. Apologize. So 2 out for Howard here in the top half of the fourth. Howard's put up 3 runs this top half of the inning. 2 out, 2 on. Samalo at the plate. And that's another one down the right field line. Foul ball. As that one, all you had to do was lift it up, and that wind actually pushed it. What would have been a routine pop-up, pushed way out and foul. Samalo with the 2-run homer back in the third. So 1-1. That's 2-1. Runners are moving. Doesn't make the play at third, so Lee will advance to third. Neff will advance to second. So 2-1 count, 2 outs for Howard. Runners at second and third. Looking at strike 2. So the deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on for Howard here in the top half of the fourth. Leading Tyler 5-0. Can't get her to chase that one out and away. So full count. For Samalo at the plate. And brings up the left fielder, Darling, in the 2-hole. Grounded to short, grounded to second so far today. Ball 1 high. Looks at ball 2 as calls time there. So 2-0 count, 2 outs. Bases are loaded for Darling at the plate. 9th batter to come up this top half. And strike 1 down the middle. Two 2-1 pitch. Fans at that one for strike 2. That's ball 3, so brings the count to full. Runners will move on this. Full count, 2 out. And gonna walk in another run. So Lee will walk in. Neff will head to third. Sumalo to second, and Darling will be on by way of a walk. As brings back up to the plate in this top half. Howard has batted around. Lopez had a solo home run to the scoreboard in right field to lead off this inning. So Lopez back to the plate. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Howard leading Tyler now 6-0. Oh, 1 pitch. And that one's ripped over and going to get through the legs of Moore at third. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. Neff will score on that one, and Samala will make it all the way around from second. So Lopez and Darling will advance to second and hold there. Lopez will get 2 RBI. One B7 on that one, as that was hot down the corner. As Howard now extends the lead to 8-0 over Tyler. And strike 1 down the middle to Loyola. Loyola 1 for 2, flew out to center, and then part of that back-to-back home runs to lead the top half of the 4th. Is that ball 1 low? As you hear the wind kick back up, looks at strike 2. One-two pitch, 2 outs, and fouls that one back to stay alive. Howard with the 11th batter up in this top half of the 4th. Tyler trying to get out of this one and get down to the bottom half of the 4th to try to answer on the scoreboard. As that one, when it fouled back, went off inside of the shin guards, or actually off the inside of the shin guards and off the hand of Shelby Court behind the plate. So reset, a 1-2 count, 2 outs. Bases are loaded for Loyola at the plate here in the top half of the 4th. Howard leading 8-0 over Tyler. And that one's deep, and the wind has got it. It's on the run at the wall. Able to get to it is Hotchkiss. So stops the bleeding for Tyler by way of F9, but not before Howard brings up 11 to the plate. They score 6 runs on 4 hits. There was 1 error by Tyler and 3 left on base. So after the wild start with the wind picking up and Howard going back-to-back home runs to start off the top half of the 4th, Howard ends up with the 6 runs. So TJC now trails 8-0. Trying to get a few runs on the board here in the bottom half of the 4th. Due up for Tyler is 6, 7, 8 more, Pete and Chatham. As you can see, hopefully see in the background there, the darker clouds roll in that has blown over just along the far side of that ridge and stayed away from us so far. 32. Out of the north-northeast, which it's still, flags are still pointing directly out to the scoreboard, so hopefully TJC can strike up the bats and answer. So due up for Tyler is Casey Moore, lined out to the second baseman, first time up in the second inning. And that one's out to right, not gonna hang enough to get over, but gonna fall as the right fielder is trying to call time. She's gonna come in and get the sunglasses, as that the sun is just over. Basically, if you're looking back from first base, back to where we have the camera set up behind the umpire, the sun's right there. So Moore will get in by a little looper 1B9. So TJC starting off the bottom half of the fourth, getting one on with a hit. Brings up Mackenzie Pete, who grounded out to short. First time up in the second. Looks at strike one there. And that one's lofted out to right, back at the fence, and that's going to hit off the fence. Sun's doing damage. Runners will end up at second and third. As that sun, you just got to lift it up. Not only are you battling with the wind, but now you're looking directly into the sun. So Moore will make it all the way around to third. Mackenzie Pete will get a 2B9 as it went off the top of the fence. 2 more feet, and that would have been 2 runs on the board for Tyler. Brings up to the plate Mackenzie Chatham. Grounded out to second to end the second inning, but no outs here in the bottom half of the fourth. Tyler with runners in scoring position. Moore on third, Pete on second, Chatham at the plate. Still in the circle is Shea for Howard. That's strike one. Oh, 1 pitch now to Chatham. 2 on second and third for Tyler. No outs here in the bottom half of the fourth. And that one's going to be foul out of play. Almost hits the light pole down the right field line. TJC trailing 8-0 here in the bottom half of the fourth. And that's going to be ball one on the inside. Howard wanting the strikeout looking call, but no go. One-two count to Chatham at the plate. And that's going to be ball 2 low and inside. And that one's off the screws. Check the runner at third. Going to throw over to first for the first out. So Chatham down by way of 5-3. Brings up 9-hole Shelby Hotchkiss. Flew out to center, damp with the rain that pushed through. So got a good watering on it with the wind starting to dry it out. Now the sun's starting to set across the infield with ball 1 on the inside for Hotchkiss. Moore on third, Pete on second. Hotchkiss at the plate. Here in the bottom half of the fourth, TJC trails Howard 8-0. TJC trying to answer. It looks at strike one across, trying to answer with a little bit of, at least get some runs across so that we can get that confidence back at the plate. And that's down the right field line, going to be foul out of play. If that was fair, it would have been just over the fence. One of those just showing you how much that wind is pushing out to right field. One-two count, one out, runners on second and third for Hotchkiss at the plate. Looks at ball two on the inside. So 2-2 count for Shelby Hotchkiss. And looks at ball three low. Full count now for Hotchkiss at the plate, one out. Moore at third, Pete at second, and going to draw the ball for a walk. So Hotchkiss loads the bases with the walk. Brings up Brianna Paysinger, leadoff batter for Tyler. So with one out, bases are loaded. Paysinger at the plate. TJC trailing bottom half of the fourth, 8-0. Ball one low and away. The 1-0 pitch. Ball two outside. Two-0 pitch to Paysinger. 3-0 pitch. And now some life out of the TJC bench. So 3-0 pitch. Looks at strike one. So Moore on third. Pete on second. Hotchkiss on first. Paysinger at the plate, one out. And walks in a run. So Moore will score. TJC now on the board. Pete, the change now for Howard as Shea is taken out with 3 1/3 innings of work. Brings up number 14 in the circle. 14 is Michaela Brown. Michaela Brown has a 2.75 ERA, 15-4 record in 27 appearances, 12 complete games, 3 shutouts, no saves, 115 innings pitched, giving up 124 hits, 86 runs, 45 of those earned, 25 walks, 65 strikeouts, 9 home runs, and opposing team batting average is a .257. Coming in for Tyler is Rebecca Snow, designated player. flew out to third and or a little pop up to third, trying to bunt back in the first inning. In the third, she was walked and stranded at third. Snow, 4.85 on the year. Third on the team with 62 RBIs. That's ball one on the outside. Bases loaded for Tyler. One out. Rebecca Snow at the plate now with a 1-0 count. To the bullpen for Howard is Allison Thompson to warm up. That's strike two looking on the outside corner. So now a 1-2 count, bases loaded, one out for Snow at the plate. On third is Mackenzie Pete. On second is Hotchkiss. On first is Paysinger. Base hit will at least score two. That one bounces on the outside. See on the board finally in this bottom half of the first with one run that was walked in. And that's poked through to the shortstop. Fielder's choice out at third. But that's going to get Pete to score. Hotchkiss will be thrown out by way of 6-5. Paysinger will get moved to second, and Snow will be on first by way of fielder's choice. Brings up Haley Weber. 1 for 1 with a single out to left and a walk. That's ball one low and away. So Paysinger on second. Good base hit. Paysinger will score. Weber at the plate and Snow at first. And that's strike one across. TJC trailing here in the bottom half of the fourth, 8-1 to Howard College. That's ball two low and away. Flag still pushing pretty steady out to the scoreboard in right field. 2-1 pitch, low and away for ball three. Had a pretty lengthy weather and wind delay with fixing the fence back in the top half of the inning. And that's out to right. That has a shot. That's going to be gone. So Weber with a 3-run shot. That will score Paysinger, score Snow, and just like that, the lead's cut in half. TJC now only trails 8-4 here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Brings to the plate with the bases empty and 2 outs. Mackenzie Goswick struck out in the first inning and walked in the third. That 3-run shot. And that one's hit to the opposite side. Not going to grab it. In left is Darling. So double for Goswick. 2B7. And TJC brings up the 9th batter of the inning, which will be Shelby Court. Flew out to right and flew out to second. Her 2 times up so far today. TJC trying to help me mess up the scorebook side with scratching out an inning. But that's okay, as long as we get a couple more runs off, that'll be great. Strike one called. 2 outs. Goswick sits on second. TJC now only trails 8-5. And got her with a changeup. Tipped that one back for strike 2. Oh, 2 count for Court at the plate. Goswick and going to get her swinging on that one, and that'll end the inning for the Apaches, but TJC able to answer. Brings 9 batters to the plate. Scores 5 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and only 1 left on base. So after 4 complete, TJC gets on the board in the bottom half of the 4th and narrows that lead by Howard, now only 8-5. So after 4 complete, TJC trails 8-5 here in the opening round of the NJCAA National Tournament. We'll be back in a minute. Due up for Howard in the top half of the 5th, 5, 6, 7, Mercado, Mitchener, and Lee. We'll be back in a minute. Ball 1 from Laird to start off after the 5th. Fly out to right and a fly out to center. Two-0 pitch. Can't get the changeup to stay high enough, so 3-0. As Coach Wynn calls time to talk with Laird at the plate. Wind still not as bad, but still got the flag moving more towards right field, right to center. So the wind's died down. Strike 1 across. Three-one count now for Mercado at the plate here in the top half of the 5th. And that's ball 4 on the inside. So Mercado will get a leadoff walk. Brings up Mitchener. 1 for 2 with a strikeout looking and a double to right with a run scored back in the 4th. That's ball 1 high. Ball 2 high. Sun still an issue out in right field in pocket, but you can tell that the shade is starting to get in that area. So it's hit and miss as ball 3 comes across. Three-0 count now for Mitchener at the plate. No outs here in the top half of the 5th. And that's going to be ball 4 up and in. So back-to-back leadoff walk and another walk right behind her. So Mercado on second. Mitchner now on first by way of walks. And Coach Wynn's going to do a pitching change here in the fifth. So Amber Lair will go 2/3. And she got us out of the fourth inning. Brings up in the circle Julia Knight. Knight, 3.25 ERA, 12-7 on the year. 36 appearances, 7 complete games. 3 shutouts, 1 save, 125 innings pitched. 26 walks, 71 strikeouts. Giving up 58 earned runs. TJC rallying in the bottom half of the fourth, putting 5 runs up on the scoreboard and cuts into that Howard lead. TJC trails 8-5 here in the top half of the fifth. Mercado on second, Mitchner on first. Brings up Lee at the plate. Got on by way of a walk and an E6, but 2 runs scored and a stolen base on the day for Lee. Is that strike 1 on the inside? Oh, 1 pitch. Wanted to go, but no go. As we're gonna check, no, had to check it. And that one's fouled back out of play down the first baseline. So 1-2 count, no outs. 2 on for Howard in the top half of the fifth. Ball on the outside. Great movement on that one. So a 2-2 count. No outs. 2 on for Howard here in the top half of the fourth. Top half of the fifth, Lee at the plate. And that's a high fly ball out in center. Calling everybody off is Weber. Runners stay where they are. So Lee gets an F8 on the scorebook. Brings up Neff, second baseman. Flew out to second and then walked back in the. Wind has finally calmed down a little bit. And that's fouled off the inside. So 0-2 count to Neff at the plate. Mercado on second, Mitchner on first. And change up across, no call on the outside. So 1-2 count, 1 out for Neff at the plate. And that's foul out of play on the first baseline. Reset a 1-2 count. Didn't have to move much, but called ball on the inside. 2-2 count now, 2 on, 1 out. And that's fouled over to first. Mercado on first, or on second. Mitchner on first. Neff at the plate, 2-2 count, 1 out for Howard in the top half of the fifth. And 6-5 for the lead. Neff will ground into a fielder's choice, so she'll end up on first. Mitchner on second. Mercado will be out by way of 6-5. So now 2 outs brings up the 9-hole Young, who came in back in the 4th. She had a sacrifice fly to left. As that's ball 1 up and away. Two outs, 2 on for Howard in the top half of the 5th. Neff, check that, Young in the 9-hole. Looks at strike 1 called. So 1-1 count. So 1-1, 2 outs. And that's grounded over to third. Can't quite get glove on it. So everybody moves up a bag. Mitchner to third. Neff to second. Young will get a 1B7. Brings back to the top of the lineup Sumalo. 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer and a walk with 2 runs scored. Looks at ball 1. So now the bases are loaded, 2 outs. 1-0 count now for Sumalo. And it's low and away for ball 2. Ball 3 low. So the 3-0 pitch. Bases are loaded. And strike 1. So 3-1 count, 2 outs, bases are loaded. And gets her to pop that one out of play down the left field line. So full count, 2 outs for Howard in the top half of the 5th. TJC trying to limit to no runs here allowed in the top half of the 5th. Runners are going on the pitch. And that's grounded over to short, makes the play at first, and out of the inning, Tyler gets him. Sumalo down by way of 6-3. So no runs off of 1 hit, no errors, and 3 left on base. For Howard in the top half. So we'll head to the bottom half of the 5th. TJC trailing 8-5 here in the opening round game in St. George. Due up for Tyler, 6, 7, 8. Moore, Pete, and Chatham. TJC trailing, head to the bottom half of the 5th, 8-5. Up to bat, Moore, Pete, and Chatham. We'll be back in a minute. Strike one across for Casey Moore at the plate. Lined out the second in the second inning. And then had a single out to right with a run scored last inning, and that's going to get over to short. Can't quite glove it. That was hit in the gap. So Moore on by way of a 1B7. Trying to get over to it was Lee. Couldn't quite get the backhand over there. So TJC once again gets the leadoff runner on. Brings up to the plate Mackenzie Pete. 1 for 2 with a ground out to short and a double to right. Now the main sun issue is in center. Right field completely under the shade. Looks at ball 2 outside. Tyler trying to fight back. Looks at strike one there, trying to fight back after giving up a two-run homer back in the third. Then back-to-back home runs that led a 6-run scoring in the top half of the fourth for Howard. But the bottom half of the fourth, TJC responded with 5 runs, led by the 3-run homer, the 3-run shot by Haley Weber. And looks at strike 2 there. So full count, no outs. Moore at first, Mackenzie Pete at the plate. And that's a dribbler over to third. Gonna get Pete at the plate, but Moore will move over to second. So brings up the 8-hole Mackenzie Chatham. Ground to second, ground to third so far today. So Moore on second, Chatham at the plate, strike 1. TJC trails 8-5 here in the bottom half of the fifth. And swings at that one on the inside with the movement. Oh, 0-2 count, 1 out. And that looks at ball 1 on the outside. One-two count to Chatham at the plate. Moore on second. 1 out. And that one's hit up through the middle. Gonna score from second. Gonna score from second is Moore. And Chatham will get an RBI single to center. And then advances to second on the throw. Pushing the envelope there. TJC now trails by 2, 8-6. So for 1 out, looks at strike 1 is Shelby Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss flew out to center in the third and then walked and got out by fielder's choice in the fourth. So ball 1 on the inside. One pitch, 1 out. And that's fouled. One-two count for Hotchkiss. Chatham sits on second. And that's hit right back up the middle to short, able to make the play at first. Chatham moves to third. So Hotchkiss will be out by way of 6-3. So now 2 outs. Back to the top of the lineup is Brianna Paysinger. Paysinger walked, flew out to center, and then walked with a run scored in the 4th. So 2 outs. Chatham's on third here in the bottom half of the 5th. TJC trailing 8-6. And strike 1 high across the chest. Expanded strike zone on that one. Oh, 1 pitch. And that's right back up the middle. Gonna glove it, stick with it, and gonna get her at first. So Paysinger will be out by way of 1-3. But not before TJC knocks off another run. So TJC will get 1 across off of 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. So we head to the top half of the 6th. TJC trailing 8-2-3-4. Darling, Lopez, and Loyola. TJC trails 8-6. Head to the top half of the 6th. We'll be back in a minute. Ball 1 on the outside to Darling. Darling 0 for 2 with a ground to short, ground to second, and a walk on the night. As ball 2 low and away. As the sun sets, so does the temperature. With the wind picking back up, now blowing from the scoreboard into third base. As ball 3 low and inside. The 3-0 pitch from Knight in the circle for Tyler. As that's strike 1 called. So the 3-1 pitch from Knight. And that's ground over, can't quite get to it. So it's through the gap between third and short. So Darling lead off with a 1B7 here in the top half of the 6th. Brings up the designated player, Lopez. Flew out to little pop up to first. Lead off home run back in the top half of the 4th. And had a 2 RBI single still in the top half of the 4th. She batted twice that inning. And that was missed on low and away. So 1-1 pitch coming, no outs. Darling on first for Howard in the top half of the 6th. Strike 2 called. One-two count, no outs, 1 on for Lopez at the plate. And gets her, it's going off the glove. Able to stick with it, though, was Pete. So Lopez goes down by way of 1-4-3. But Darling will advance to second. So with 1 out, brings to the plate Loyola, the catcher. Flew out to center, flew out to right, and has had a home run solo shot today. Looks at strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch. Outside for ball 1. Two hits in the top half of the 6th. Loyola faces the 2-2 pitch, stays alive, fouling it out of plate on the first baseline. Sitting on second is Darling. Loyola at the plate. 2-2 pitch underway. Change up too far high. So now full count. 1 out, 1 on for Howard. 3-2 pitch, and that's fouled back out of play. After 3.5, TJC trailed 8-0. Then put up 5 in the bottom half of the 4th and got a run across in the bottom half of the 5th to cut into this Howard lead. 3-2 pitch, fouled back once again off the cage. Full count pitch, 1 out, 1 on. And just a high fly ball out to center. Able to get to it is Weber. Runner stays at second. So Loyola pops out to Weber, so F8 in the books. Brings up Mercado. Mercado 0 for 2 with a walk, a fly out to right and a fly out to center. So 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Howard leads 8-6, 1 on. And not sure where it missed, but we're going to go with inside for ball 1. Depending on, hopefully the video connection is pretty decent. You could probably see that one too. So that was strike 1 called. So 1-1 count for Mercado at the plate. 2 outs, and that one's gonna be trouble. Can't quite get to it. Diving for it was Weber, but scoring from second is Darling. So Howard brings their lead to 9-6 here in the top half of the 6th. As Mercado gets a 1B8. An RBI single out the center. And as you knew right off the bat, that was trouble as it just hung up. So that brings up Mitchener. And that's little pop over and able to get it is Chatham. So a little F6 will end the inning, but not before Howard extends that lead back to 3. So Howard will get 1 run across off 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on. In the top half of the 6th, heading down to the bottom half. For Tyler, 2, 3, 4, Snow, Weber, and Goswick. Still in the circle is Brown for Howard. But TJC trails by 3, score of 9-6, headed to the bottom half of the 6th. We'll be back in a moment. So to lead off the bottom half of the 6th, Rebecca Snow comes to the plate. Check swing, pulls it back. No go, so ball 2. So 2-0 count now for Snow at the plate. That's right back up the middle. So Snow will go down by way of 1-3. So with 1 out here in the bottom half of the 6th, Haley Weber comes to the plate. Ball 1. Weber a single to left, a walk, and a 3-run homer on the day. One pitch, and that's gonna ground over to second. Can't quite get there in time, so Weber out by way of 4-3. So with 2 outs, Goswick now comes to the plate in the 4-hole. And that's going to foul right outside of first base. And that's out to center, but line drive shot goes straight to Mitchener. So 3 up, 3 down for Tyler in the bottom half of the 6th. So we head to the final inning of play here in the first round matchup. The winner of this one gets the #1 seed Butler tomorrow. The loser of this one will get 16 seed Snead State, as Butler beats Snead in 5 innings, 9-1. Still in the circle for Tyler's number 22, Julia Knight. Winner will play, like I said, winner will play Butler tomorrow at 3:30 Central, 2:30 local time here in Utah. And then the loser will play at 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. here in Utah. Deep to left center, back at the fence, and just over. So first pitch swinging extends the Howard lead to 4. So 10-6 now is the score. Favor flew out to second. Walk and a run scored in the 4th and got on by way of fielder's choice in the 5th. And that's fouled back out of play for strike 1. Fouled back out of play for strike 2. Ball 1. And that's popped up. Easily able to get the little looping fly ball is Moore. So now another first round action. Chipola defeated North Central Texas 5-3. As ball 1 comes across. Other 2 games still being played, Wallace State and Central Arizona. And then Tyler Howard are still out of that first group, but that's going to be in for at least a single. Going to turn the corner, go back to first. So Young gets another 1B7. And that's fouled right back in front of us. Low and outside for ball 1. And that one has a shot dead center and going to be out. So another two-run homer for Samalo. So Howard extends the lead to 6. TJC fought back after trailing 8-0 after 3.5. Was able to scratch or get 5 runs in the bottom half of the 4th, get another one in the 5th. Howard has answered with a run in the top half of the 6th, and so far all runs scored on home runs. All 3 runs scored on a home run here in the top half of the 7th. So with 1 out, brings to the plate the 2-hole Darling. Ground out to short, ground to second, walk, and then a single to left with a run scored back in the 6th. Ball one, up and away. Back up the middle. Going to get into center. So she'll be on by way of 1B8. Out to first. Home run in the fourth. Another single in the fourth, batted around. And then a ground out to second back in the sixth. TJC now trails 12-6 here in the Darling on first. Lopez at the plate. Called strike two. So 1-2 pitch. And that one's fouled. Back down off the plate. That's fouled back to stay alive. So we'll reset another 1-2 count, one out here in the top half of the seventh. Darling on first, Lopez at the plate, Howard leading Tyler 12-6. Gets her swinging on that one for out number two. Brings up Loyola. One for four on the day, but that one was a home run back in the fourth. Looks at strike one across. Oh, 1 pitch. On the outside for ball one. Strike two called on the outside. A 1-2 pitch to Loyola. Gets her swinging at that one for out number three. So TJC needs to at least score 6 runs in the bottom half of the seventh to continue this one. After Howard puts up 3 runs off 4 hits, no errors, and 1 left on. Both of those, or all 3 of the runs, one was a solo home run, the other one was a 2-run shot. So TJC brings to the plate 5, 6, 7, Court, Moore, and Pete, and trails 12-6 heading to the bottom half of the seventh. We'll be back in a moment. So the bottom half of the seventh starts off with Shelby Court. Strike one. Court 0 for 3 with a fly out to right. Pop up to second. And a strikeout, and that one's fouled off right in front of the Apache dugout. So 0-2 count. Doesn't chase that one, looks at ball one. And that's ripped foul right in front of the Apache bench once again. And that's bounced in front of the plate for ball two. So 2-2 pitch. And that's fouled once again down the third baseline. TJC trails 12-6 here in the bottom half of the seventh. 2-2 count to Shelby Court. And gets her to jam up on the changeup, fly out to short. Brings up Casey Moore, 2 for 3 with a line out to second. A single to center and a single to left, or single to right, single to left with 2 runs scored. And that's right back to Brown. TJC now 1 out remaining to try to stay alive in this first game. Looks at strike one. Pete 1 for 3 with a ground to short, ground to third, and a double to right with a run scored. And that's right up the middle, able to try to glove it. Trying to get it on the move was Neff at second, but couldn't quite come up to make the throw, but that would have been tough to make regardless. So we'll go 1B4. So with 2 outs, Mackenzie Pete on we'll check that. Pete got on. We have a 1B4, but now coming into run is number 9, Nadia Jimenez. Brings up to the plate Mackenzie Chatham. Chatham 1 for 3 with a ground to second, ground to third, and an RBI single to center. Looks at strike one across. Howard leading this one 12-6 here in the bottom half of the seventh. TJC pulled it within 8-6. And that one's fouled right back to the catcher. So 2 outs, 0-2 count now for Chatham at the plate. Jimenez, pinch run on first. And throw back over. Jimenez will be in safe, but that's a ball on the outside at the plate. And that's back up the middle. Flip over to second. Out number 3, and the game's over. So Jimenez will be out by way of 6-5. Howard improves to 47-12 on the year. Tyler will drop to 50-18. Congratulations to Howard. They'll stay in the winner's bracket. They'll take on number 1 seed Butler tomorrow at 2:30 local, so 3:30 back home in Texas for all you Howard fans. But Tyler will be back in action in the elimination bracket. They'll take on Snead State tomorrow at 5 p.m. local here in Utah. 6 p.m. Central for all the Central Time Zone fans. But Tyler drops down to that elimination bracket and must win that first game tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, and then would have to go right back again and play at 8:30 p.m. Central. But now it's win to stay in for Tyler. Goal still there, but got a win to stay in. So TJC drops this one 12-7 to Howard College, or 12-6 to Howard College. And rain delay, about an hour rain delay start to the day, and then a little bit of a rain and wind delay, and trying to fix the fence and everything back in the top half of the fourth. I want to appreciate everybody for sticking with us. I know it was crazy trying to get everything going and then get everything back situated, but appreciate all the fans out there that have texted in, chatted in. I know I didn't get to everybody out there, but I want to say thank you to everybody. But we'll be back on air tomorrow right about 5:45 Central Time as TJC drops this one 12-6, and we'll take on Snead State tomorrow in the elimination round. Until next time, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank Dr. Drain and everybody back home for checking in and allowing us to come up and get all the stuff set up and hopefully bring a good product to you out there. But until next time, I want to say thanks and go Apaches.